Tuesday, September 19th, 2023 at 6:03 p.m. Present tonight, I have Councilman Podeska, Councilman McComber, Councilman Wilden, Councilman Carn, and Councilman Porters participating electronically this evening. So we do have a quorum. I've asked Councilman McComber to lead us in our invocation and Councilman Podeska to lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance.
Our dear and gracious Heavenly Father, as we come before Thee as a city, we are grateful for the opportunity to live in such a beautiful place in which we can call home. Heavenly Father, we ask that Thou will bless us this day, that we'll be able to look at the various items on the agenda and think about the ramifications that these decisions will have, not only on the residents today, but the residents that will be moving here and coming here in the future, and that we'll be able to make decisions that will benefit all who will live here. Heavenly Father, we also ask a special blessing upon our first responders, that they will know of our appreciation and our love for them, and that they will be protected as they serve and protect our citizens in this city. Heavenly Father, we also ask those serving in the military that they will be blessed and protected in their service to this great country. We say these things humbly in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Will everyone please rise and repeat the pledge allegiance after me? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
We have the presentation of the Youth City Council. Somebody want to give an introduction to it first, or we just want to go straight to the?
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. We have our 2024 Youth Council here with us tonight to be sworn in. I will read their names. If I miss your name, it's because you just gave me your thing, and I'll still try to get your name in there, okay? And I'll have them stand as I read their names so that you can identify them. Jaden Parker. Jaden is our mayor this year. Lindsay Palfreyman is our secretary. Miles Nelson is Mayor Pro Tem. Sarah Pease is our volunteers coordinator. And Maya Parker is our timer. She's the one that tells us when to start and when to stop. She has a very important job for us. Okay, here's the others. Some of them are not here tonight, had to work and things. Abby Snow, Alex Stensley, Avery Weiner, Braden Hansen, Bruce Cameron, Christina Densley, and somebody help me, is it Delaney Moss? Delaney Moss, Gracie McPherson, Grant Jensen, Hudson Harrison, Kayla Esperson, Lydia Prestwich, Maggie Wooden, McKay Jensen, Olivia Dial, Owen Ferrer, Peyton Harrison, Reagan Rowley, Ross Dial, Thomas Cahoon, Zach Wooden, Marcy Havens, and Samuel Allen. So would you like them, oh, I didn't get her paper, that's fine. Kelly Hill. And Kelly Hill. Thank you, Kelly. Would you like them to just stand where they are?
Yep.
Okay. Have you move over by them?
Are you going to try and get a photo of them, or?
We will have them turn around and take a photo with you guys behind them.
Okay.
Maybe.
If we want, can we bring them in? We'll do the oath of office.
Would you like
that
to
way.
bring them in here? Okay,
Yeah.
we'll file in. Okay, right through there.
There's no cords. Kevin messed it up. Let's do two double layer, guys. Tall guys in the back over behind the ladies. There you go. Guys, stand up.
You want to stand on the chair?
Okay.
He's going to
Okay, we'll do this, morning and then we'll have Mayor get up there.
Okay. Perfect. Okay, if you'll raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear. That I will support. Obey and defend the Constitution. Of the United States. And the Constitution. Of the State of Utah. And that I will discharge. The duties of my office. As a youth council member with fidelity. Thank you.
You can stand on this.
You can't see me, I can't see you, but I can't tell, so make sure you can see me.
Watch your finger. It might be in the lens there.
Now she's good. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, one more. Got a mom that needs it. Okay, youth council, you are dismissed, or you can stay for the meeting, except the board, I believe Mayor is going to
Yes.
join you.
If you'd
Okay,
like to join us up here?
so if you guys want to watch the board participate in this meeting, then stay, you are welcome.
One thing I want while you're sitting down too, and listen to this, but you guys just took an oath of office that is really rare to be able to defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this state. Officers, firefighters, and elected officials are the only ones who do that, and you were able to do that today, so it's a pretty cool opportunity for you.
The rest of you may sit wherever, like Mayor Pro Tem, who's Mayor Pro Tem? Michael. All right, go sit next to Michael.
And the mayor there. There's a spot down here too. So what we'll do is, I'll have you do my motions. I'll follow. I'll help. Okay.
Okay,
Let's have them do our motions.
So we appreciate those participating tonight in our council meeting. This is always a great meeting. We get to bring the youth council in and let them run city council tonight. So we'll turn it over for you to run. That easy.
He likes the break.
So we're on public input.
Okay, perfect. So for public input, this is a time that has been set aside for the public to express ideas, concerns, or comments. And then what is the topic that we're gonna have?
It's for subject matter not listed on the agenda this evening. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Please avoid repetitive comments. Please be respectful in your comments, and please state your name and address for the record. Public comment is on.
I think this is great what these youth are doing, because I love the Constitution. My name is Liz Anderson. I live at 569 East, 400 South in Lehi, Utah. I had to write my notes down because this is really nervous for me, but I am here tonight to voice my opposition and concerns about what happened last week with the new no truck traffic signs on Grandview Boulevard. I was very disappointed with your city and the way you just put up these signs with no notice to the Peck Rock landfill. We can all agree garbage is very important. Grandview has been a truck route for over 70 years. And all of our customers are considered truck traffic. I am the Peck Rock landfill manager, office manager, and I'm the one that had to answer all these phone calls last week from our landfill customers. Some landfill customers were mad at us for not telling them about these new signs. They were mad about being pulled over by your police officers enforcing the signs that same day. Our customers calmed down as we explained we did not know anything about this new mandate either. I was also really frustrated because I couldn't even tell them what other roads to use to find us because I don't live in your town. And it was very frustrating for a couple of days until the signs were covered back up. And I appreciate that for now. But you can only imagine the phone calls that you would have received if you would have put up signs that said no residence traffic on Grandview. That seems so silly, like it does to me with no truck traffic, where it's been a truck route for 70 years. We have had the Peck landfill above Grandview for 28 years, even before the residence and elementary school were built. It's just not realistic. I think we can all share the roadway. I live in Lehi, and I've hated all the extra traffic your Saratoga Springs residents bring by passing through my city. Lehi Main Street used to be the worst, but traffic is part of life. Pioneer Crossing is still awful to drive at rush hour. I knew that you still had Grandview as a truck route listed on your Saratoga City Code 13.0201, page 6 and 7. And so it was frustrating. You would just put up signs without notice or a code amendment meeting. As it is Constitution Week, it doesn't seem right to just force something like this through without a meeting on the issue. I think government officials should always be transparent and willing to talk about issues. I already requested a meeting on this subject by email. I sent it to your planning staff and all of you as council and mayor, and I was a little disappointed that I hadn't heard a response from any of you back. I thought the mayor would have at least reached out to me or our Peck owners by now, as his personal message online states that he's willing to listen to all sides of every issue. But I was told by Annalisa, your city's public relations person, that there would be no meeting. And I know I'm over, and I'm gonna use my mom's time, Janice Peck, 76 South, 600 East, because I think these kids need to know the rest of the story. Anyway, she told me that the mayor didn't want to have a meeting, and the council had all just agreed to push truck traffic off Grandview. We could only voice our concerns here at the city council. So I'm here tonight to request that you please take out the no truck traffic signs along Grandview Boulevard. We can encourage our landfill customers to take other routes when possible. Contractors with jobs in Eagle Mountain will probably be happy to use the new Mountain View Corridor Road, which will leave less truck traffic on Grandview. But it is not realistic if a contractor or a roll-off dumpster company has a job south of Grandview and now would be required to pass Grandview, head north, go to Pony Express Parkway, and up and around, and it will cost drivers extra time and fuel, which makes labor costs go up for the city building projects and residents. Adding that extra 5.1 miles out of the way one way to the Peck Rock landfill. I am also a part owner in a roll-off dumpster company. I am here on behalf of all truck traffic type businesses. Residents use dumpster companies all the time, not just for getting rid of trash, but even for deliveries of things that are like structural rock, landscape rock, topsoil, which means these trucks are no different than moving trucks under your code, which is number 4 under your exemption section of your truck route code, talking about deliveries to or from residents within the city of Saratoga Springs. If the no truck traffic signs stay up, then residents will be confused and probably report trucks on Grandview not to know about the delivery exemptions in your city code. It's big trucks delivering food and supplies for elementary school lunch. Then it must be okay under the city code to deliver rock products, which means it's food merchandise. Then rock deliveries would be also considered merchandise under your code. The last point I will make is my brother Cole Peck does care about the children's safety on Grandview. We all do. When the elementary school went in, we knew it was not an ideal to have a school on a truck route. But whomever was in charge let it happen. The Pecks agreed to only be open from 9 a.m. to 3 while the children were in class. I can tell you contractors hate our short hours, our landfill during the school year. But your Saratoga residents that complain about the truck traffic on Grandview need to know. My brother Cole's 6-year-old daughter was killed on a bike on a road across from a school in Lehi. It was not a big truck that hit her, it was a car. Bad things happen, it just is life. He does care about the children on Grandview. Please don't remove Grandview as a truck route. It just makes things harder for the construction companies and trash truck drivers to deliver the trash. It's been a truck route over my whole life, and I'm 56. Why not another 70 years? Thank you.
Audrey Barton, 1911 Trellis Place, Saratoga Springs. I want to say how awesome you guys are here, and a big shout out to the young ladies. Sorry, awesome that you're here too. But you guys stay involved. We need your voice. We really do. That's not why I came up here, but I wanted to say that because you guys are awesome. Thanks for being super involved. What I really want to say is I was able to attend the last city council meeting when Wildflower presented their concept plan, or I guess it's not really that yet, but their ideas. And so I wanted to just give you, just say thank you to you guys for stating your desire to keep a business park someplace in there. I feel like we're losing some of our business park areas in Saratoga a little bit, and I think they're ultra important. I hope that it's hard to see them right now, but in the future, I think we're really going to need these with more business owners living here, entrepreneurs all over the place. Just a quick little history on there. So my family, we've owned our own business for 35 years. And we've hit tons of great milestones, and we got, so many clients, and expanded, to every state in the United States, all that kind of stuff. But the coolest part was when my family now lives in Parowan because it's internet-based, so we can do that. But the coolest part was when we opened an office in Parowan, Utah, and the mayor was our first employee. And so I just think there's something super magical, I'm not sure magical is the right word, but something super awesome about being able to have your business office and have employees from your city when you own a business. So I just want you guys to please keep stating your desire when we have developers that come in and stuff like that. I think we need to keep some of our land open for these business parks. I think they're really important. Again, sometimes it's hard to see that, but I feel like you guys are also really great about leaning towards the future. And so that's just a little feedback and a little backstory from my family's business. But there's something about having an office in the city that you grew up in or that you've raised your kids in, and then hiring your neighbors or hiring, the mayor of your town or that sort of thing. So thank you.
My name is Clay Peck. My address 7752 North, 9150 West, Lehigh. I'm one of the owners of the Peck Rock Landfill, and I'm also a private owner of a business, a building that lies within the annexed area of Saratoga. And the new road that has just been put in has cut off my access to that road. And now you're also trying to cut off access to the business, the landfill. My name is Clay. My great-grandfather started mining clay. My grandfather mined clay. My dad mined clay. And now me and my brother mine clay. And that's quite a heritage. I used to hate my name because it was mud that I walked in and worked in and everything. But I feel like we're being discriminated against by the city. We came here, we've worked here, like my sister said, for nearly 100 years as these mines have been open. And the road that is now called Grandview used to be called Clay Pit Road. It's a county road, and it enters into our landfill. At the city line, it would still continue into our operating property as a county road. And you guys are trying to take away our rights, and I'm very disappointed. We talked about you guys, you young people, you just swore an oath to the Constitution. Well, guess what? One of the favorite things for me of the Constitution is the right to property, the right to own your business, the right to work. And I feel bad, but this city council is trying to take away my rights as a business owner. And I'm very frustrated. I don't think any one of you would be happy with the city kind of just shooting a target right on my back to put us out of business, to make us jump through hoops. And, quickly, we came to town meetings before you were a legal city. We voiced our opposition to the development that encroached up to the landfill, and we said, hey, we're here, we have our access road, it's Clay Pit Road, it's a truck route. Don't let the developers use that as your resident road. Build a new road for the cities, for the residents. Leave us alone. And they didn't listen. They've taken us to court. This town has taken me to court several times fighting. And I was there first. It's very, very frustrating. So in my mind, I'm very frustrated. I know I have legal rights. I've given easements to the city for water lines to get around to their tank. I've allowed them at no cost to do certain things. And now I feel like this is the payback. Thank you.
I'm Cole Peck. My address is 1512 North, 1300 East, Lehigh. It was my daughter that was killed on a road by a young driver. I can't tell you how many residents I had to argue with about using Grandview. And Grandview wasn't meant for any of your town. Like we said, I'm actually making a formal request of a grammar request for the notes that were taken that night in that city council, because I said, I do not want your town on our clay pit road. It wasn't made for you. It wasn't made for any of your residents. It was made for our family's business. My grandfather, great-grandfather, dad, we make a living. So today, I drove the route, and I drove it south down to Lariat, and it came out by Maverick. Well, there's also signs that say no truck traffic. So how do our customers come from the south and get to our landfill without going 5.9 miles out of the way? It takes 10 minutes one way. That's 20 minutes. A truck is roughly 120 an hour. It's $40 more per load. So you're targeting our customers. Like I read your notes about that you can have food trucks and you can have delivery, but it also says the above truck route shall not apply to construction trucks delivering to or returning from construction sites within Saratoga, where it is possible to use a designated truck route, where it's not possible, excuse me. So name a business that is not being discriminated against besides us. You can't name one because there's the explosive plant up there and they're leaving and you guys all know that. And our landfill has been a target by your town forever because we've been to lawsuit after lawsuit. And to get basically threats from the contractor to say, hey, we're shutting this road down. He didn't tell me that. He told a contractor who told me. That was your Jeremy Lappin. So he says, well, does Cole know that? And he goes, he will, because he's going to get tickets. So what do you guys do? Rather than just call us up and meet with us and try to find a solution, you guys just turn the police officers on all of our customers. It caused chaos. We would expect a little bit of respect out of you guys. I think your new road's nice, but it's not 100% feasible to use for everyone. And for you to sit on that, the council and decide who can use the road and who can't, you know what? You guys are the ones. I can use Jackie's time. She's an employee. So for you guys to say, you gonna reset that? For you guys to say that we cannot use the road, our landfill's not part of your town. So it's the same thing as what you tried a few years ago when all of our trucks started getting tickets, and we actually got letters and police officers attacked all of our trucks. If we came across the river bridge at 7 a.m, come on, guys, let's sit down and come up with a solution. We'll try to urge our customers to use the new road, and the new road's nice because you know what? We don't have a time restriction anymore. Awesome. We'll use it when we can. But for you guys to just take a shot in the dark and say, oh, it's only going to affect the Pecks. We're going to run them out of business. I've heard it all. And the biggest thing that concerns me, we don't have an access road into our business anymore because we tried to get the contractor to put it in, and he said that Jeremy told him that he doesn't have to and that we'll have to deal with him. So I would like a meeting with Jeremy or whoever. If Mark wants to take charge, go ahead. But threats from your people within your city is ridiculous. And I want you guys to come out there, and I have pictures, drive up Grandview. When you get to the intersection where it turns and goes south or north, we had a road there that went back into Dell Snyder's business. We have renters back in there. We have no road now. You guys will go up there and say, oh yeah, we have a road. The road you have is a temporary road that we granted to your contractor for free to complete your project of paving. That's our stockpile. It's not staying. So you guys need to come and put the roads in. And if you don't, we're going to put them back in, because we have the right to have an access off of that road for several different businesses that we already had. And if you want a court battle, I guess that's what we'll do, because we don't want to fight with you guys. We want to be your neighbor, your friend. When that landfill's full, your city's going to inherit 100 acres of park space. But now I hear that your staff won't allow that with the trust lands because, oh, it's not good enough ground. But it can be open space for the citizens to enjoy. So our business actually generates money for the school trust lands. And if you guys don't know what that is, we'll look it up, because it generates a lot of money for the school kids. And so we would like to work with you. We hope we don't have to fight you, but we will if we have to. And so we'd just like a little respect. Thank you.
My name is Jason Prestwich, 711 West Main Street, Lehi, Utah. I am the manager and run the Peck Rock landfill for Coal and Clay Peck. And all your residents around there, we've went down, anytime there's trash on the side of Grandview, whatever, we've always went out of our way, picked it up, and all the residents, whether you guys believe it or not, really enjoy it, appreciate having us there for all the work we do. Not only that, every time they're going through following by your guys' zero-scaping laws and all that, where do you think they bring all the sod, everything like that is to us? They get landscape product from us. We deliver it to them. And I don't think it's fair for you guys to close Grandview Boulevard, and if your residents knew what you guys are doing, they would be really mad. Because a good example is where the junior high is, just off of Grandview Boulevard. Any residents there, if they use our services or whatever, they can go, you're saying they can go right up Grandview without any repercussion or tickets, but somebody down by the Talons Cove Golf Course, same thing, they're gonna have to spend extra fuel or extra money for the semis and everything for the extra fuel that they have to go clear around to Pony Express and on Mountain View to come into us. And they've all the ones that are around right off Mountain View now, that are right there, they appreciate having us there. And not only that, when there was a fire up on the mountain, it was because of the Peck Rock landfill, the way it's scaped and everything, it saved all them homes, because we was a fire break for them. Therefore, your residents didn't have to deal with that. And I just think it's totally unconstitutional for you guys to say the residents on Grandview Boulevard, it's okay for them to use it if they're using our services, but somebody just down the road, it ain't fair for them. They don't get to use Grandview as the same route and everything, because the fuel that people pay and all of our customers and truck drivers and all that, and this is for the young kids, the tax they pay in fuel is for roads, maintenance, everything like that. And it ain't fair to ask your citizens that are down on the other end to pay, if it takes a half hour extra time, figure a truck paying hourly to the trucks $125 an hour, they have to pay half of that more than somebody that's just right down by the junior high. Where you ain't gonna tell them people by the junior high, go down Redwood, go up Pony Express, turn on Mountain View Corridor and come over. And not only that, all the extra traffic by alleviating Grandview, you guys are forcing it all Eagle Mountain Way, do you think Eagle Mountain residents out that way want extra traffic without a say or anything? We're not telling them just to go one way. It should be both ways that they should be allowed to use. And that road's been there forever, and I just don't think it's right what you guys are doing.
My name's Chris Sargent, 1050 East 400 South Springville. I am representing the Hauling Wolf, which has been serving your community for more than 10 years at this point. I'm going to echo everything that has been said to this point. For us to go south to service anything it doesn't make sense, and it's not acceptable to cut Grandview's, which has been a truck route, which is also called a collector road, which is a truck road for all the youth in here. There are 0 homes that face into Grandview Boulevard. So there's no traffic coming from homes into there. The city, as you guys built this new road going in, all the truck traffic coming in and out of there and all the complaints coming into the city, you guys caused. This was not caused by us truck traffic that have been coming in with commercial homes and stuff like that coming in. Another thing to keep in mind is our roll-off trucks are classified as a municipal style truck. So as you guys try to eliminate us from that, you guys need to eliminate your municipal trucks coming in and out of there too, because they're classified as the exact same thing. Excuse me. I've been driving for more than 10 years. I've got over 1 million miles documented underneath my belt. The roads here in Saratoga Springs, dealing with traffic, is some of the worst I have ever been on. The amount of homes that you guys have allowed to come in with not having proper infrastructure to support the roads it's a joke. I'd just like to point that out. Just think as things are coming in. With traffic coming from Eagle Mountain in here, as trucks are trying to come in the other way, you guys have a high school and a middle school right there. You are gonna create huge problems traffic-wise, possibly even more fatalities, forcing traffic into an area that's already excessively congested as it is. As I have watched traffic up on Grandview Boulevard, not once have I ever seen a commercial rig pulled over for a traffic violation. Every vehicle that I see pulled over is, as we as truck drivers like to call, four-wheelers, personal vehicles. I see them speeding up and down unrealistically on that road. Your signs that you have posted radaring traffic, I see cars doing 60, 70 miles and up and down that road. That is unacceptable to have a personal car. Trucks coming up and down that road were 15, 20 miles an hour. We're not getting any faster than that. With the stuff that we're bringing up, we're trying not to make problems with trash coming out, we're trying to be respectful for everybody because we want people's homes to be nice and look nice. As a truck driver, we want to make sure that people respect us and we respect them, because we are in machines that can kill. So we have to take the extra precaution.
My name's Dale Snyder, 7752 North, 9150 West, Lehigh. I'm Clay Peck's father-in-law and partners in the building, and I have to I'm making a request for some form of an access to the building that's been there forever. That Explosives building, Savage had it for a while, then we bought it. But I had to come into the job the other day, and I had to drive through 2 feet of water that had collected on the reasonable facsimile of a road that you guys left me in a low spot, and I had to take my skid steer down there, and it was me that had to cut that. They had a 2-foot berm all the way along there, and the water had collected from the whole mountain, and we had a 2-foot high water that I had to drive through to even get to the building. The drainage, we've got to build that road up. We've got to, I'm requesting an access to the highway because we've had one forever. If we had to just get one access, it would be across from the one that was dead end for years and years, that there's been a concrete barrier saying it's a dead end on the residential side. And so they give access to the dead end, but they cut us off. And basically, we're circling around up through, and any road it's a temporary road, evidently, but it has to come off on a 90-degree angle. We're having to make a complete U-turn at the top of the gate, go clear up to the gate, U-turn, come clear back down through the mud hole, and it's just unacceptable. We need an access to that existing building that's acceptable. Thank you.
So my name is Juan Valladares, and my address is 1975 East, 1425 North in Layton, Utah. So I work for the Lock Canyon business that's just behind Peck. And as the exceptions read that, any trucks making deliveries to or from are exempt. And, our police officers in the city pulling over trucks that are within that exception and not knowing that exception, I think it's a little bit unreasonable. It's not only messing with their livelihoods, but it's also messing with the livelihoods of employees of the businesses that it has access to. It's also creating a problem for anything that we've already been contracted, any jobs that we've been awarded. It's costing us more money because we have to go a different route. Our trucks are being stopped. And as a sales coordinator and managing hundreds of trucks a day, as truck drivers, one, they're prohibited from being on any electronic device, handheld electronic device. So to me, they're one of the safest drivers out there for the most part. I would much rather drive around a truck as long as I'm giving them space and I'm not in their blind spots. Especially in adverse weather, they have a bigger visibility. They're more conscious. They drive for a living. They're professionals. That's what they do. But that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the time tonight. We'll close the public input at this time and continue on with our policy meeting. We have a proclamation in honor of Constitution Week.
Thank you.
Can speak to that one? I can. Okay. The Daughters of the American Revolution ask us to sign a proclamation in honor of Constitution Week, September 17th through the 23rd. It's similar to the one that we signed last year as a council to support the Daughters of the American Revolution and Constitution Week. If the council's good with that, sign that again.
Love that. I think it's a great opportunity for us to show our support as a city.
Okay, then Mark, we'll get that signed and sent off to him. Okay.
Perfect. Now we're going to move on to reports, first by the mayor.
I already did mine with Constitution Week.
Perfect. And then the city council.
Not really a report, but a question for city manager. We talked about this before the meeting, but could you kind of give a brief update on potential short, long-term solutions around the corner of Foothill and Foundry North?
You bet.
Thank you.
One of the questions we frequently receive is, why we haven't pursued or done something with that intersection. And the answer is that we do not own property currently that would allow us to do that. And it's a good question that Councilmember Carn had asked, and I wanted to make sure that you all had an opportunity to understand. Right now, UDOT is working right now with 3 different property owners, on 3 different properties with willing sellers to try and acquire the land. Once that land is acquired, then we can get an access, right-of-way access with UDOT for us to be able to work on some alignments and other things. We're currently right now trying to get an engineer on board that would allow us to then begin working on design work and things of that nature so that we could move forward with that project once the land becomes available via right-of-way through UDOT, and then also once we can get something designed, funded, approved in a budget, and kind of prepared for that. So we are working preemptively to try and get some things pulled together, but currently we do have several hurdles that we need to cross in order to be able to put a light at that intersection. But as we've discussed in the past at some of our retreats and other planning discussions, it's on the horizon, but until that right-of-way is secured, we can't really do anything at this point.
But it's safe to say that we're actively doing something behind the scenes to create a short and long-term resolution to what's happening.
Absolutely. We're working on all kinds of things behind the scenes to try and look at future issues, try and deal with future things,
Well, in the
future
last
planning
year, we
things.
did a bunch of work.
Yeah.
Correct. And when we talked, when you all authorized staff and when we amended the budget to the Mountain View Corridor project, we did all of the work north of Pony Express, which got us up to basically the elementary school. And we were able to do some widening on that segment of the road. Unfortunately, that's the choke point. Right from there up to about Talus Ridge, we just don't have any additional way to
But
do
you
any of
did the
that work.
continuing, right? I mean,
And we're going to continue to work on those types of projects. And our goal as staff is to try and get get the contracts to you, get design work being done in anticipation of those property acquisitions.
Okay, and then just finally, wanted to thank staff and the contractor who's been working on the Mountain View Corridor extension from Pony to Lariat for the last couple of years. Very challenging construction year with the moisture we had, and they came in on time and made they pushed a month, but that was in the contract. They were able to with the wetness, and they still came in with the date they said. So I really appreciate all the work that went into that. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. And now for administration.
yeah, I do. So speaking of Mountain View, I would like to publicly say that I would like a traffic study to determine why it's 40 miles an hour when Redwood Road has 10 times as much traffic, way more lights, and a sharper turn than the Mountain View does, and it's at 50 miles an hour. Because when you get past Grandview going south, it's a very sharp left turn, and it's still 50 miles an hour, and there's no signs that even say reduce speed. It stays at 50 miles an hour when you're making that curve on Redwood. I really don't understand why Mountain View is at 40 miles. I think it should be at least 50. Up in Mountain View Corridor, up in Salt Lake, where you have tons of traffic on it, much more homes built around that already, is 55 and 65 when you make it up to West Jordan and West Valley. It goes to 65 miles an hour on the frontage roads. So it doesn't seem consistent at all. And I think it's also tricky for people who are familiar with the Mountain View Corridor going 55, having 55 or 50, and then all of a sudden, boom, it's 40 miles an hour.
Now on to administration.
Perfect. For administration, we're going to talk about the ongoing item review.
Great, thank you very much. Mayor and council, you should have updated council goals with status updates in your packet. Those were provided to you a little bit earlier. We apologize that you didn't get those later or earlier last week, but they have been amended to your packet, so you do have those should you have any questions. I did want to quickly just kind of hit, appreciate the feedback that we received tonight. Staff will reach out to the PECs and follow up with them beginning tomorrow. So we will reach out to them. And I will just publicly apologize to them. We did the designs, which included all of those signs. We were anxious to get the road open. Those came down, and it wasn't until after the road was opened that they reached out to us saying, hey, wait a second. And we had not amended our truck route. That's on us as staff for not having that done. So my apologies to you that that was not completed prior to. We do need to amend our truck route. We will bring that as an action item back to the council when it's appropriate. And we will have some conversations with the PECs to cure the issues that were raised earlier today.
Especially the access one, that's probably the one that's most
Sure.
concerning to me.
Sure, certainly.
If we took their access away, that's.
Well, and again, I apologize, Jeremy's not here this evening, but we'll reach out to them and try and resolve their concerns as best we can. With,
Also, I think it's important to note that all the cars coming from Eagle Mountain have a reduction of 5.
Well-
They don't go to Grand, all the way to Redwood and Grandview, they get to go straight across. So
yeah.
a lot of their customers are actually saving money.
Well, and again, we have quite a few things that are happening on the road front. We obviously have our concerns from our residents. We have concerns from non-residents. We realize that there's concerns all over the city. On that.
I'm a resident on that road, and I would never have said they did a great job keeping that road clean, ever.
On a secondary note, I just wanted you to be aware, 145 is continuing to be constructed by TSSD. We hope that that road closure will be resolved sometime in the future, the not too distant future, but again, I got nothing to offer you. You've seen Money Pit. I could say 2 weeks and you'd get the joke. But we do, we are looking forward to that. I did want to put on your radar that we have started the construction of the last piece of the new Pony Express extension in exchanging the old Saratoga Road with the hard 90. D.R. Horton has done a great job, and they've built their portion or most of their portion of that road. We have our contractor out there that's going to be completing that road. Sometime in about mid-October, we're going to need to close that road down for approximately 2 weeks. Again, I don't know exactly when that's going to be. So from the bridge until they can make that connection, they're going to get the rest of the road built. So we shut it down for the quick connection, and then we open it back up, and we're ready to go. We realize that that's going to cause some delays and things, but we want to get the rest of that road constructed because we're going to make the old Saratoga Road, the current road, that's going to be a right in, right out, and it's going to require some realignment as part of that construction project. So I just wanted to put that on the long horizon that it's going to happen in the future.
My only comment on this is, can we please try and get this done before they open 145? I don't want to open 145 and then a few days later close that area.
Exactly.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Just my feedback on this.
We understand all of those.
Don't know what TSSD's plan is. I mean, they could open it next week, we don't know.
Right, and there will probably still be construction somewhere along that road.
Yep.
So we will come back to you before we get our project ready to do that crossover. We'll bring that back and communicate that with you. We have some phenomenal aerial photography. I think I shared a picture with you as a council. They just recently did a flyover of the city, and you can actually see the size of that. You could actually set a truck down inside the top of that giant collection box where all of the sewers come together. It's on City Map, and it's pretty epic. And my apologies. On that same note, Riverside Drive has need to get shut down for some construction activity to install the gravity sewer line. The good news on that is we've worked with the contractor. They're going to be building a bypass road so that they can essentially get their project done, open a temporary road that goes around the edge of their project while they install the sewer, so that Riverside Drive is not closed while Pony and/or 145 is also being impacted. So we are trying to mitigate these things and balance these things out, but it is very complex where we've got so many various projects happening across the
Does that come
city.
in at an extra cost to us?
It would be part of their reimbursement agreement, but again, we felt that it was imperative that we keep
Oh,
traffic
thank you.
flowing.
Yeah, thank you.
So it would be included in their reimbursement agreement,
Okay.
and again, it will be for probably about a 2-week window, 3-week window, where we'd have that
Well, it's
temporary.
just a temporary detour, it's not closed.
Correct. That's, I believe, We do have need for a closed session tonight, Mayor, and I believe that's all I've got unless there's any other questions from the council. Thank you.
I've got it written.
Thank you.
Okay.
Entertain a
I
motion
wrote
for
it out.
consent items.
Okay,
don't ever do
I'd like to entertain a motion for consent items.
Okay, right here. Either one. You can just read that first one right there.
I move to approve the consent items as listed on the agenda dated today with any staff findings and conditions.
Perfect.
You gotta actually move it.
I have a first.
That's my motion, thank you.
I second.
Under Ryan Podesta.
Okay, and a second from Councilman Destin.
Okay.
Do any other discussion?
Do we have any other discussion?
And do a roll call.
Okay, and then for roll call? Okay, Councilman Podeska,
Aye.
Councilman McComer,
Aye.
Councilman Weldon,
Aye.
Aye.
Councilman Kern,
Karn.
Karn,
Aye.
And then
and then Councilman Porter.
Aye. He goes by Carney.
Okay, motion carries unanimously.
First business item condition.
Okay, and then we're gonna move on to our first business item, and then do I just read? Okay, the resolution creating local building authority.
Mayor and council, we did this last week, but unfortunately bylaws and things that were established were left out of the packet. So this is a redo with those things being included, and we would recommend that you approve this. Essentially, this creates our local building authority, which lets us bond and build for municipal buildings and infrastructure within the city. So unless you have any questions, this also includes all of the language there, which is a reimbursement resolution and parameters resolution for us to move forward with some of those projects.
Does that all be in the motion?
If you were to make the recommendation approving business item number 1 with all of that language being included in, I think Kayla could probably get it.
Perfect.
If there's no discussion, you'll entertain.
Got it?
I move to approve number 1 on,
Okay, if there's no discussion, then we'll call for a motion.
I thought you did.
I move to approve number 1 on the agenda with staff finding and what? Conditions.
Okay,
I
we have a
first from
first.
Councilman McComber.
We have a first from Councilman McComber.
And second.
Oh, I second.
Second from Councilman Wilden.
And a second from Councilman Wilden.
Any
Further discussion?
Then you start again.
Okay, and then for a roll call? Okay, Councilman Podeska,
Aye.
Councilman McComer,
Aye.
Councilman Wilden,
Aye.
Aye.
Councilman Karn,
Close enough.
Aye.
Councilman Porter.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. And then we move on
Business item 2.
to business item 2, which is the Deer Canyon Cell Tower Site Plan Lease Agreement.
It's a cell phone tower.
This is a color one.
All right. Okay, so this is for the Deer Canyon Cell Tower, which is located in Fox Hollow, west of Deer Canyon Drive, and it is a city-owned property. And the applicant is Central Layton of Atlas Tower, and the location, as you can see, you might not be able to see the yellow, but it's just to the north of the pond. And it complies, everything complies with code. And the only thing that is more so a condition is the height of the fence. So the fence height is 6 feet, and then it goes outward from the cell tower to kind of be a barrier, because chain link isn't allowed, or razor, so it's a steel frame, and it will just be going, it will not be more than 7 feet in height. And here's some pictures of the location. So where the cell tower will just be a little bit northwest of where the pictures were taken. Unfortunately, I was not able to climb the fence or show off my track and field skills, but luckily the city doesn't need to know that. So.
But it's in the minutes now.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Forever.
So, so for the camouflage portion, they propose to paint the cell tower to be able to kind of show what is currently shown as mainly just some power lines. And the Planning Commission recommended the French roast color. But there are different options for your approval. And as well as during Planning Commission, they did say there's other options as well, rather than just 5 colors, if you find another color to be better. So they're also.
Real quickly, one question for you. Does the French roast color largely match the poles that are existing there, the power poles that are out there?
Yeah, it looks like it's a darker color, which the poles are currently. The poles are shown. So yes, I think it's the color that's most tries to mask what's currently there.
I didn't know that was a color.
And a beverage.
French roast is?
I just have a quick question. So, and then this might be for Kevin as well, but what are the legal rights that we have as a city council? Because, I'm driving through Provo, and Provo seems to have a really great way of make their poles look like trees. And, I mean, obviously this is out here and stuff, but we have one by the middle school that is extremely ugly. It distracts from that new school, the building, the open space that's there. They did nothing to try and camouflage that. I'm a little disappointed in the school district and the school board for not using their legislative rights. But where are my legislative rights to make this not just be a huge pole and be more like Provo, where they make them look like a tree?
Yeah, so unfortunately with the middle school, that portion of the camouflage was missed. And, but, so more so, it talks about in the code with a stealth design, and there's not many specifics of if it says it can incorporate something such as trees and other thing. So, in this case, to try to implement what is currently shown, they felt what was best was to just paint it, because there's no other, there's shrubs, but there's no trees. So
Yet, but this is 30 years down the road. There's going to be homes and developments and trees and neighborhoods and houses, and this is just a big dark brown.
I'm going to jump in. My mic isn't working, so I came over here. Our code isn't specific, so it doesn't mean that we have to approve this option. So if there's another option that the council would prefer or recommend, we can.
I just want to interrupt before we go on. I don't want to stop this cell tower because we have crap poor coverage, to coin Wilden for a comment. We need the cell towers, but I would like to see staff reach out to other cities and see what they're doing. I mean, we're by our secondary water pond, we're by water tanks. They could have built a water tower that a city builds around it. It would just kind of blend it into, this is a water facility. I get where it's at. I get they're going brown. I don't want to see this one get stopped because they are under current code, but I'm with Councilman McComber. We need to look and see what are other cities around us doing with that camouflage.
Well, she's just saying, though, I mean, I get that we need a cell tower, but she's saying that within our current code, we could require them to camouflage this.
Right.
So let
So
me
we can
answer the
require-
question. So you were asking a question. You have two things we're dealing with the code. The code, first of all, it says stealth design. That's open for interpretation. Whenever you have a code provision that's open for interpretation, you typically have to go with the property or the applicant, the developer. And in this case, we have a different situation because they're not just asking for a site plan approval, they're also asking for a lease. We're leasing city property. And in that case, we have the discretion to specify the terms of that lease. Jeremy's looked at some terms such as fencing and access and access roads and so forth, and has basically put his stipulations in the plans that we've reviewed and that were brought to the council for approval. But if you're not comfortable with the design of the tower, that's within your discretion as you approve this lease agreement to specify the terms of the tower if you believe that there are aesthetics that you'd like to be addressed. Now, that's outside of, like I said, outside of the scope of Title 19, because Title 19 is not, it's not clear. It's not, it just says stealth. So that's going to be open for interpretation. And courts have ruled when you're dealing with an applicant that's trying to exercise rights, land development rights. In that case, let's say that somebody came in with an application on their own property, you would have limited discretion to specify what that stealth is because it's open for interpretation.
What the mayor's saying is we definitely
in
need
this
to
case,
talk
it's
to our
different.
neighboring cities, find out what they're doing, because obviously Provo gets a pine tree on I-15, the most industrial structure in Utah County, I-15, and they have a cell tower on I-15 that looks like a pine tree.
So I second your opinion that we need to look at what our neighbors are doing and clean up our code from ambiguous to some direction.
But the fact that we have some opportunity here, because this is our land, I mean, if we can give direction to staff to, feedback or something that we could do something more to work with the developer to not slow them down, but to also get this done. I think that we're missing out on an opportunity because with our existing code, we actually can protect the people who are looking out the backyards of all these homes on this picture I'm looking at, plus the many homes that are going to be coming around this in the future.
I do have a legal question for Kevin in addition to what you said. When we first drafted this code, we did have several images of all different types, including trees and water towers and things like that. And we left it ambiguous on purpose to allow for flexibility for the specific situation. In this case, where it is subjective, can it not be subjective? I'm just asking the question, can it be subjective in us requesting a specific design, or is it only to the benefit of the applicant in that they can propose whatever they choose?
We can talk offline about that, but I don't know that that's relevant in this situation because, like I mentioned, we can specify the terms that we wish on this lease agreement. Now, that's not, I understand that they would still have the choice to say we're going to go put this tower somewhere else if that's the conditions of approval. But really, that's up to the council to decide tonight what you want to do as far as the design requirements. But I do think that there's some room for improvement in the code.
So I just have a quick suggestion. With it being a lease agreement, can we have a trigger put in motion of they put it up this way with the brown, the French roast, and then in 5 or 10 years, or not a time frame, but when development gets closer, then it's upgraded to camouflage.
That's something we can talk to the applicant about. Yeah.
Okay.
Again, if the applicant's here, maybe they would be willing to respond to whether you're willing to.
like to add or say, or?
Stealth this as a water tower
We're
is
hiding
what I'm.
stealthily behind the monitor.
My name is Sandra Layton. I'm with Atlas Tower. We actually were looking at the different designs, and it was actually the neighborhood who said it would look better as a brown monopole because it was up against those big electric power poles. I brought a picture for you. We did a mock picture for you, so you can kind of see what they're talking about. But it was the neighborhood behind there that actually requested this. So we had the neighborhood meeting. They're all in very big favor of it. So this is the one with, and I stapled the little.
Is it the one in our packet?
This is the French roast color, and it just shows you the stealth pole, and it's kind of close to the poles. And this one's more of an up close.
They recommended French roast.
However, it looks a little bit darker.
This is what a beautiful color.
There is a mocha as well.
Yeah. So and that one's just a little bit closer.
So I do have a question, if I may. You're a third-party tower company. Do you already have this space leased to the carriers? The cell carriers?
We have 3, we already have interested carriers, yes.
Okay, so you do have
Very
interest.
interested.
Because our cell phone coverage out here is terrible, especially
Right.
in the south end of the city.
They're pushing us.
Okay.
So, yes.
So how long does something like this take you to turn up and get the backhaul put in and everything else for that to be operational?
We're planning on building it this year. The carriers are each going to have to go through the process of getting approval and getting building permits and all that as well for each of them. So however long that takes.
Do you provide the backhaul, though, the fiber lines and everything to the base of the tower?
The carriers actually bring that. We
They bring
provide,
that
we
in.
bring power to the area. They bring the fiber typically.
Okay.
It just depends on how our construction works it out with them.
Okay.
But yes, it is brought there. I just don't know who does it, if it's going to be us or
So
them.
that's been the delay for a lot of the towers out here is getting the fiber.
I personally just want to say that I appreciate you went to the residents, and if that's what the residents want, then that's
Yeah.
what we really want to do. But I want to make sure that we are looking at our code, making sure that it's not vague, and that we protect this in the future when if this was to go into the Saratoga Springs development, we have 100-foot trees. That would be horrible to have this big pole in there because we have the big trees, and that's when you would want to camouflage it. But obviously, the residents, and when you look at the picture, it makes sense. So, thank you.
Yeah, and I was discussing this informally with another member of the planning commission. I think that was the reasoning behind their decisions, is that's what the residents want, and they could see it as well, that, hey, it would blend in a little bit better versus a large artificial like pine tree in this.
Okay. You can ask comments, if not, you'll take a motion.
Perfect. Are there any other comments?
You want to do this one?
Take a motion.
Okay, we'll call for the motion.
Sure. Do I say the whole thing?
Yep.
Okay. I'm,
Business item 2.
all right, I move to approve business item 2, Deer Canyon Cell Tower Site Plan and Lease Agreement, Sandra Layton, Atlas Cell Towers applicant, west of Deer Canyon Road, Resolution R 23-50. Dated today with any staff findings and conditions listed in the staff report.
Motion.
And with the French roast, we need to add that?
Yeah.
Okay, with the French roast.
With the French roast.
We have a,
Apparently motion made. So.
hey, we have a first by Wilden,
A second.
a second by McComber.
Any other comments?
Any other comments? Okay, roll call. Okay, Councilman Podeska. Aye. Councilman McComber.
Aye.
Councilman Wilden.
Aye.
Aye.
Councilman Kern. Carn? Carn. I always second guess myself.
Carney.
Carn, okay. Councilman Carr. Councilman Porter.
Aye.
Perfect.
say
We'll
that,
move
dude.
on to item 3. The Saratoga Springs Commercial Plat F Lot 601 Site Plan.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight, the application before you is a site plan for the Saratoga Springs Commercial Plat F Lot 601. This lot is being developed by WPI. Dan Schmidt is the applicant. The location is directly south of Wendy's, and it is zoned regional commercial. The site plan does meet all of the requirements regarding parking and drive-through stacking and so forth, landscaping. All of those have been met. The Planning Commission does recommend approval. The elevations are, as such, very similar to the buildings that are along Crossroads Boulevard. With that, Planning Commission recommended approval based off of the findings and conditions in the staff report.
Ask if there's any comments.
Are there any comments?
I just.
What? I have one real quick.
Go ahead.
So it says here can comply on the landscaping. Have they fixed that?
No, so that can comply is actually, it can comply to all the regulations of, the condition is, and I wrote it in here, or, oh, maybe I didn't update it on the motion. So it's it's in our code, and it's to be determined at the final inspection to make sure that they do comply with all of those. So that is why it's a can comply and a condition of approval is at final inspection that they will have complied with all of our landscaping code.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Doesn't, but I think we just need to say complies, and then the notes say, but
Yeah.
and be met at the final.
Yeah, agreed.
In the future, yeah.
Sure.
Councilman.
All right.
Wilden.
I'm good.
You're good?
He said what I did.
Okay.
No, what I wanted to.
Okay.
Motion.
We'll entertain a motion. I move to approve the Saratoga Springs commercial plat 5, F, lot 601 site plan.
That's listed as dated today.
September,
No, just say dated today.
dated today.
Staff findings and conditions.
With staff findings and conditions. Okay, we have a first from Podeska, Councilman.
Second.
I second.
There you go.
Okay, we have a second from Karn, Councilman Karn. Okay.
She's got it.
Any further?
Any
comment?
further comments? Okay, roll call. Okay, Councilman Podeska? Aye. Councilman McOmer?
Aye.
Councilman Wilden?
Aye.
Aye.
Councilman Karn?
Aye.
And Councilman Porter?
I just don't worry about my name.
Aye.
It's too crazy.
Thank you.
It's McGoobler. Or McGobbler.
Cucumber, cucumber.
Okay.
Oh, I like that one, McCucumber.
Okay, we're moving on to number 4.
yeah, number 4.
Okay, we're gonna move on to business item number 4, the Saratoga Springs Commercial Lot 610 Site Plan.
Yeah, so I'm doing 610 and 611, and I might as well just kind of, because both of them are pretty much the same, they're right next to each other.
Put them together.
Okay, so this one is just, it's north of where the Home Depot will be, and it's off Lake Drive, parallel with Crossroads, and in the regional commercial zone, and everything meets code, landscaping, has the adequate amount of landscaping, and the only condition on this one is it is shown in 601 and in 611 is that I believe on the northeast perspective, there's going to be kind of a shield to shield the utilities and the power box. That was not mentioned in here, so we made that as a condition that will need to be, that will need to comply. And lighting and everything works, and then basically the same design, just a little bit of different colors of architecture. And as you can see on the northeast perspective of that is kind of what we're talking about, that shield to shield in the utility and the power.
I can't say anything.
Okay,
If there's any comments,
are there any comments?
entertain a motion
Okay, we'll entertain a motion.
for 4 and 5.
Okay, I move approval of business items 4 and 5 as stated on the agenda, including any staff findings and commissions.
Okay, we have a first from Councilman Wilden,
I second.
a second from Councilman McOmer. Any further comments? Okay, then roll call. Councilman Podeska?
Aye.
Councilman McOmer?
Aye.
Councilman Wilden?
Aye.
Aye.
Councilman Karn?
Aye.
And Councilman Porter? Okay, are we good
Yep,
to move on?
Item 6.
Okay, we're gonna move on to
He
items.
hasn't said anything yet.
Yeah, did we hear from Porter? Yeah, Porter, where are you?
He responded. He said aye. I heard it.
Okay.
He did? Okay.
Okay.
Sorry,
Time he talks, we
I may have said it before my thing unmuted. Aye.
Okay, item number 6, the Fox Hollow Master Development Agreement Extension, 6th Amendment to the Villages at Saratoga Springs, Fox Hollow, a second master development agreement.
Okay. This came to you actually a few months ago in April to ask for a 6-month extension. All of the remaining property owners and the city staff have worked out terms related to the extension. Those terms discuss the dedication of the regional park and the dedication of the Mountain View corridor and future water right payments, and those are all in the development agreement in your packet. We have one holdout, so all of the property owners have signed except for Neighborhood 15. They are the brightest yellow color on there, right next to the future Mountain View corridor. They are not convinced that this is something they want to enter into. However, that does not have a large impact on the entirety of the agreement, and we have a recommendation related to that that is not in your packet because we were hoping to have all those signatures and did not get that last one, or the applicants did not get that last one signature, where we don't think that they're going to sign. And so this is the proposed condition. If the owners of Neighborhood 15 do not sign the proposed extension and amendment by October 30th of this year, they will be excluded from the Fox Hollow MDA, and the city will initiate proceedings to rezone the Neighborhood 15 property. And the reason we have October 30th here is that's the deadline of the 6-month extension, and that will still be valid.
So if they don't sign, then they'll go back to normal zoning.
Right.
Okay.
The development, the original development agreement has it revert back to an R110. And
That's
so,
But that's what but they'll no longer be held to the development agreement at all.
yeah, and
But they lose a lot of rights.
They do lose a lot of rights right now. They have 88 units shown on that particular piece of property. And if they're not a party to this agreement, then they could be rezoned.
To anything?
No, R110.
R110.
the contract or the development agreement stipulates R110, but again, you have to remember that's developable acreage. There is a waterway that goes through here. And so in communication with Kevin just a little bit ago, we would probably need to stick with the R110 zoning at this point.
Okay.
Which is equivalent, never mind. Current.
Yeah, we would still, I don't think we should give up hope with working with the property owner, because there's a few things that we probably need to explain to them. It does revert back to at the time it was called R3, now we've changed it to R110. But other things to consider is, we have this property shown as basically the Mountain View corridor is over it. The transportation master plan shows that. And as we've discussed with you, general plans are typically advisory except for the transportation element. And the transportation element is mandatory. Property owners have to comply with that. So of course, there's discussions we have to have discussions about paying for that property if it ever comes to that. But they have not only those rights, basically the density, but the property is already encumbered under the transportation master plan. And other things to consider is they get, by not being part of this, they basically don't have any easement rights. So they would have to